This program may contain visuals that might offend sensitive viewers. Tonight on Cutting Edge.
Blood on his hands! Blood on his hands!
Konke uMadlanga already usene pressure ngokuba makaxela upresident ukuba usenzo mchunu makahambe okanye makahlala emsebenzini.
Ikomishini ezisekwayo asisekela untuba zifuna unceda isehlo eswehlileyo. Sisube izisekelo ukuba zisenziwa intuba zifihle imfihlo zabantu abatyebileyo.
So help me God.
Good evening, my name is Ondela Mbana and welcome to tonight's episode of Cutting Edge. Cometh the man, cometh the hour. The spotlight now turns to the Bridget Mabandla Justice College in Tshwane, the scenes of what promises to be a turning point as the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into Criminality, Political Interference and Corruption in the Criminal System kicks off its hearings. Tomorrow morning, star witness KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is expected to take the stand. His testimony is expected to be explosive, potentially lifting the lead on years of political meddling and systemic rot within the country's law enforcement agencies. Cutting Edge producer Njabulo Shabangu filed this report.
This syndicate involves, amongst others, politicians who are currently serving in parliament. The law enforcement officers include the members of the South African Police Service, the Metro Police, and correctional services. They include prosecutors in Gauteng province, the judiciary, and all these are controlled by the drug cartel. The evidence has been found in the cell phone of Mr. Vusimus, also known as Cat Matlala, which shows the communication between Mr. Brown Mokhotsi and the Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mchunu. On the 31st of December, 2024, the Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mchunu, issues a letter to disband the political killings task team. An analysis was conducted on electronic communication of this arrested person. This analysis reveals communication between the arrested Vusimus at Ket Matlala, Mr. Brown Mokhotsi, an associate of the Minister of Police, as well as the Minister of Police, Senzo Mchunu. Further analysis of the chats indicates that Vusimuzi Ket Matlala is financially supporting the Minister of Police and Mr. Brown Mokhotsi's political endeavors. This is supported by the evidence of conversation and the proof of payments.
Following KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's tell-all press conference in July this year, President Cyril Ramaphosa appointed a Judicial Commission of Inquiry to investigate the allegations made by Mkhwanazi. Ramaphosa appointed retired Judge Mbuyiseli Madlanga as the chairperson of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into Criminality and Political Interference in the Criminal Justice System, also known as the Madlanga Commission.
Terms of reference include investigating whether the South African Police Service, and that includes then the Political Killings Task Team, as well as crime intelligence, and a number of other law enforcement agencies, including the State Security Agency, the National Prosecuting Authority, the Department of Correctional Services, the 3 metros in Gauteng, amongst others, whether those have been infiltrated by crime syndicate.
Having been scheduled to commence hearings on the 1st of September, the chairperson of the commission issued a statement on the 26th of August announcing a delay in the start of the hearings due to a delay in procurement, sparking fears whether the Commission will have time to do its work diligently.
On Wednesday, the 17th of September, the Commission will have Lieutenant General Mkonazi here at the Justice College appearing as its first witness. And so I'm saying that the delay, whilst it was significant, that will obviously be taken into account in discussions between Justice Madlanga, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Mamoloko Kubai, and President Ramaphosa in determining an adjustment of those timelines.
Konbo Madlanga already sene pressure ngokuba makaxela upresident ukuba ugxa wakhe, umhlobo wakhe, iqabane lakhe usenzo mchunu makahambe okanye makahlala emsebenzini. Very tricky. Very tricky, and already delay ye commission ubiqale i-delay la report inceda ntoni le crisis uba mayiqhubeke ibe khona.
The Madlanga Inquiry spokesperson Jeremy Michael says this commission has far-reaching implications and will not be just another talk shop.
I think it is safe to say that a report into allegations of this nature and appointing a judicial commission of inquiry of this nature suggests that that report is not going to be allowed to lie there and gather dust, particularly against the backdrop where there is such huge public interest in not only the allegations that Lieutenant General Mkonazi made, but in the recommendations and the actions that flow from there. Very interestingly, the terms of reference also say that, and I quote from it, each report must be submitted to the President and shall include recommendations that can be immediately actioned.
Abantu ekufuneka ke ngokuna benzile lezi zinto ethi commission mabazenze ngabe kufuneka sibaqoqedisile, not uchairperson. Ubuchairperson akenzanga ubulungiswa, masimse kwi-review ecourt siyibeke phansi i-report yakhe sithi wenze into efileyo. But if uchairperson siqinisekile uba no ziyevakala zivuthiwe i-recommendations zakhe nezinto athi mazenzeke, then ubulungiswa abukho kuchairperson, ugqibile umsebenzi wakhe uchairperson.
The allegations made by General Mkhwanazi involve politicians at the highest level of government, the judiciary, and law enforcement. This has caused worry amongst the public that there might be political interference with the work of the commission.
We have a rather unique situation where the commission is charged with investigating some of the very agencies, law enforcement agencies, that would ordinarily be responsible for witness protection. And so what it means for the commission is that we then had to go take a very careful look at the terms of reference. In this case, the terms of reference stipulate that the commission will be responsible for the protection of witnesses, which is quite unique.
Kufuneka uMadlanga angabi nazingelosi ukuze akwazi ukusebenza kakuhle. Nabani na nowuphi na umuntu ekufanele embizile ukubana azohlala phambi kwekomishini yakhe anike ubufakazi, anike inkcukacha, kufuneka babiza abo bantu.
South Africans have been eagerly waiting the start of the Madlanga Commission, and many of them will be keeping a keen eye on developments there.
Our justice system is a machine that works for itself. When it finds trouble, or trouble comes to it, it faces the trouble by delaying and blocking people because they have the power.
I just feel like we are really just focusing on the wrong things. I feel like this will blow over just like everything else in South Africa, you know? We are swaying away the attention that we should be focusing on everything else which includes the increasing prices on our taxes.
I think the justice system in South Africa has collapsed, because when it comes to issues that are pertaining to the public, they try by all means to delay information.
Since the dawn of democracy, South Africa has had many commissions of inquiry, with the most memorable ones the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, established in 1995, the Marikana Commission and the Zondo Commission. However, the question remains whether all these commissions were able to deliver justice and retribution over the years.
In South Africa, commissions of inquiry are part of our democratic history, dating back as far as the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, chaired by Archbishop Desmond Tutu in 1996. The commission's primary goal was to achieve national unity, reconciliation, and the prosecution of apartheid-era crimes. The TRC was a very emotional time, with testimonies heard from both victims and perpetrators.
Could you describe some of that torture? What actually did they do to you?
Oh, I was always suffocated with a mask, and there was this helicopter training, and a stick was put inside your knees and you had to stretch your knees. During that period, you were suffocated.
Mr. Malkas, thank you very much indeed for coming.
This will be done.
Jeffrey Benzine, a member of the Security Police's anti-terrorist unit in the late 80s, had a repertoire of torture mechanisms to get detainees talking. His notorious wet bag method was one of them. This week, allegations of police torture made headlines again.
On the 16th of August 2012, the South African police mercilessly mowed down 34 protesting mine workers. The massacre would mark one of the darkest days of democratic South Africa. This, too, resulted in a commission of inquiry, chaired by retired Judge Ian Farlam.
The reason that I'm raising this now... Yeah.
Will you please leave the room? Will you please leave the room immediately?
Blood on his hands! Blood on his hands! Blood on his hands!
The commission
Blood
will return.
on his hands! Blood on his hands!
In the year 2018, then-President Jacob Zuma established a judicial commission of inquiry into state capture, corruption, and fraud in the public sector.
I'm Jacob Zuma.
Do you have any objection to taking the prescribed oath?
No.
Do you consider the oath binding on your conscience?
Yes.
Do you swear that the evidence you are going to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing else but the truth? If so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
During the hearings of the Zondo Commission, the country heard witness testimony that government officials would visit the Gupta home frequently and receive gifts from the now fugitive from justice family.
Who paid for your honeymoon?
AJ did.
You know how much money Mr. Gigaba was given?
No, I don't know.
How do you know that it was Mr. AJ Gupta who paid for your honeymoon?
Because he tells me when someone pays.
Who told you?
Malusi told me.
Miss Ngoma lies pathologically. She makes a habit of lies. She says things today, she denies them tomorrow, or even on the same day.
Commissions of inquiry have always held the promise of justice for victims of apartheid-era crimes such as the victims and survivors of the Boipatong massacre. The massacre took place on the night of the 17th of June, 1992. The residents of Joe Slovo informal settlement were attacked by 300 men made up of Inkatha Freedom Party supporters. 45 people lost their lives, while scores of others would carry injuries for the rest of their lives. 72-year-old Gog Florence was in her late 30s when the armed men broke through her tin shack and almost wiped out her entire family. Although she was only 3 years old at the time of the massacre, Mita Molete will always be reminded of the events of 17 June 1992.
His way through Mama because at that time it was the time yes, so when things are ending, that is how I lost my working ability. Which means it affects all the 4 limbs of my body, but then it's only one. So yeah, so like it's only one. Yes, and then it's only one, so I'll carry off the weight of my body.
The Boipatong massacre was the subject of investigation of 2 commissions of inquiry, the Goldstone Commission and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, chaired by Archbishop Desmond Tutu, which held its first hearings in 1996.
Massacre se dileng attack empa ena ya Boipatong ke ya pele ke Shavila ke ka apartheid ya bobedi ke Boipatong empa ena ya Boipatong no one cares about us, so commissioning I don't know.
As part of its financial reparations to survivors and victims of the Boipatong massacre, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission recommended that victims be paid 17,000 rand a year for a period of 5 to 6 years. However, the government only paid victims a once-off amount of about 30,000 rand between the year 2004 and 2005.
I fixed to page. Jwale hana mme hana ntate le nna ke wa mpona setsofetse ke matata ona re ka mo fitsetsa sekolong jwang, and then rona le mahlakisi ba batho ba mona Crewman Support Group re a lla ka nnete TLC ha e ka go empa hape ntho re tlang ka case ena ya rona ha re se re felletse kae ga di bona tsa Marikana ntse di tswella pele di etsa but mona ya Boipatong ho thuthuhitse tu.
In addition to the financial compensation, the TRC recommended victims be given psychosocial support for pain and loss suffered through a human rights violation.
Ka ke bua le lona ona jwale a ba ka thola counseling ha ne ba kena ka tlung ona le dihipo maburu with musidi di ballot clubs ba tshwere dithunya di IFP members with red belt mo di hlong tsa bona ba kentse mapetjhe ba tshwere di spears ba re faith e ka re TRC e ka khutla hape nna ntwe ke bishang ke kopa go batho ba re bolaileng le ba re lemaditseng le ba re tshwatletseng e ka re ba ka ba mo re bue face to face le bona gore re be re kgotsofale re fole gore ke fole nna ke gore ke ba tshwarele.
Years ago in South Africa's Platinum Belt, a group of mine workers staged a sit-in on a small hill near the Lonmin mine. They were demanding a living wage. What followed shocked the nation. 34 of the workers were shot and killed by police, marking one of the deadliest use of force incidents in the country's democratic era.
Nandijonga ecaleni hey kukhona abanye ababethwa bengasebelele phansi nam loo nto izokwenzeka kum sendithula sembele phansi adutyulwa embumbulu zayi-9 eziyi-7 zakhutshwa ngugqirha eziyi-2 zezwe njengoba ubona izinto ezinje bazibethile kanti uphula ingalo yedlula ayalanduka ze enye izinto into ezinjengezi nalapha ke ngemva nezinto ubungabona pha nje nomtshwitha wabetha wathi ngelakhi ngenhlahla kaThixo kodwa ke ezakhutshwa ngogqirha sabayi-7 kum.
After the massacre of 34 workers on the 16th of August 2012, 270 miners were arrested and charged with the murder of their colleagues. Umzwaqolo was hospitalized under police guard.
Ndithena ndidutyulwa apha ngamapolisa ndiyazi uba nandidutyulwa ngamapolisa ndatshutshiswa futhi ngoba oogxa bam abatshonileyo babulewe ndim abasebenzi bebestrayikhe nam kwathiwa babebulewe ndim yinto kwakwayivaphileyo ekubeni ngamapolisa aduphule bani mna uyakhumbula uba kwakuthiwa ndingumntu ebedubula amapolisa ndiphethe isibhambe ndidubula amapolisa loo case leyo andiyazi uba ithe uphela kwayo yaphela kanjani.
13 years after the Marikana massacre, survivors are still in court seeking to hold President Cyril Ramaphosa personally liable for the killings in Marikana.
Sisalidinga uxolo sisalangazelela uba iikhoti zeli lizwe zingabikho phantsi kwengcindezi yocinizelwa ngabantu ngosomapolitiki abantu bezopolitiko ngoba ndiyithatha njengoba ingathi iikhoti zilawulwa ngabantu abathile kungako singakalitholi ixolo.
The survivors of the massacre want President Cyril Ramaphosa to take personal responsibility and apologize for his role in the events that led to the killing of workers in Marikana.
Tatu Ramaphosa njengoba ndisitsho ndithi umntu kwela kuthi kwaXhosa phaa kwaXhosa nxa umoshile emzini uyanqonqoza uthi inqonqo emzini apho umoshe khona uthi ndizocela uxolo ugwetywe loo nto uyigwetywayo emzini bese emveni koko kuthathwa ikomi ibekwa apha kugalelwa amanzi kuhlanjwe izandla kube nokuthula emveni koko kodwa uba ungeke uke wangumntu ozikhukhumezayo ongalifuni uxolo lokucela uxolo emntwini ommotshileyo neengxaki azikupheleli ziyakulandela ngoba ezanyembezi zobo bantu basokobe beliliswa nguwe ayizonyembezi eziwanje phansi zibuyela kuwe futhi uyothi ndatsho noba kunini noba kwisizukulwana sikaRamaphosa zisenkulu into ezizokwenzeka kulaa family ngenxa kaTata Ramaphosa. Nkosi nincede ndithethe nyani.
The witness is sworn in.
Thank you, Mr. Magidwane. You may be seated. And
Umzwaqolo testified in the forthcoming commission that investigated the circumstances surrounding the Marikana massacre. He believed it was used as a cover-up more than a fact-finding mission.
I-commission kakafala eyayikhona laa tata segugile. Ndandimxelele straight ezindlebeni ndathi tata umdala kakhulu. Iminyaka onayo ngoku yiminyaka yokuba uyufike emazulwini wenze ukulungisa izinto ezilungele ukuba zivezwe ngabantu kwinto yekhomishini. Ezinye izinto ziyafihlwa. Ekugqibeleni kwaba ngela hlobo ndandibona ngalo ngoba wafihla inyaniso, akukho nto yabuyayo yathi kwilizwe hayi ngamapolisa amoshileyo. Wafafathela nje wathetha nje into engacacanga. Kwaphinde kwasekwa enye ikhomishini, buyakhumbula emveni kwelo xesha, eyabanjelwa kwasePitoli. Nalo khomishini nayo akukho nto ize nayo iye yabhetele. Iikhomishini ezisekwayo zisekela into uba zifuna unceda isehlo esehlileyo, sube izisekelo ukuba zisenziwa into uba zifihle imfihlo zabantu abatyebileyo abenze izinto abezenzileyo ebantwini.
And that is all we have for you tonight on this program.